The holidays are a trigger time for way too many marriages, and honestly, I haven't always enjoyed this season.
What?
Yeah.
You don't like Christmas?
I like it. It's good. Anyways, I'm Melissa.
I'm Gabe.
Thank you for joining us for Marriage Monthly, December. This is great. It's holiday season.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's pressure cooker time,
much.
I think,
too
for
much.
couples for sure right now.
We have so much stuff to share with you. I'm just going to say, grab a notebook, get a pen. Because
we're talking
we
about
a lot of
expectations and holiday stress.
Yeah, and it's like for me, it's always been a lot. Like my mom made it a big deal, and so then I felt like I needed to make it a big deal. And so all this expectation, then when you have kids, it's a whole nother level of making it a big deal for memory's sake and things like that. And so it's just like a lot of expectations. So anyways, I'm going to mention some expectations because it's so much. First of all,
nice
when we had
sweater,
littles,
by the way.
thank you. I know this is my Christmas sweater.
It's very holiday-ish.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Those of you listening, you don't get to see it, but
It's sparkling.
but I'm sparkly. Anyways, kids activities. Oh my gosh.
So many.
When we had our kids at home, we have 3 kids, all adults now. But they were all involved in music. And so there was always concert choirs, and there was like recitals, or there was like church events, and there's friend events, and there's the school party. And then there's, of course, don't forget, you have to get a gift for every one of the teachers. You know, all that kind of stuff. And then I was always on the team that went and volunteered at the school. So I always had to be a part of a school, support thing and a party, staff party, or else what's that one thing they did at Aloha High School had this cool thing where we gave away meals at Christmas time to people in need. Of course, I helped out with that. And it was just like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So when you have kids at home, I get it. We get it.
Do you think moms put more expectation on themselves than anyone else does?
I think moms are really relational.
Yeah.
So they think about this stuff more than most guys. And I'm not saying all guys, because I know there is some nurturing guys out there that are maybe running the house as the wife is the worker full time.
Yeah.
But generally, by and large, I would say I'm thinking about this stuff 100 times more than you are.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And because, I mean, I was involved in the kids' schools and their activities, and I took them here, there, and everywhere. I was a taxi. So anyways, expectations when kids' activities, huge. Memories. I never wanted to be a bad mommy. So it's like, I got to have these great memories for my kids, So we got to take them all the Christmas lights and all this and all that and make sure that they see all the cool things. Because, I mean, my family did that. We went to Peacock Lane. We're in Portland, Oregon. So we went to Peacock Lane every year.
Street.
It was the thing since like the early 1900s. I mean, it's
time of Christ.
It's a big deal. And we did that every single year. And it was like one of our traditions. We had several traditions. And so that was one of them. And so I kind of inherit that stuff like, okay, well, we got to go find. But of course, we got to like amp it up because,
okay. I think we need to establish
Gen
that not only are we Gen Xers, but you're an Enneagram 3 or 7, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm an Enneagram 7.
Which means that you always want to party.
Activities.
Activities
are the number one thought.
You feel a lot of pressure for making memories. I think, more than most people.
And I take a lot of pictures, and I want my kids to have great memories, and that mattered to me. I didn't want my kids to just have boring holidays and sit around the house and not do anything. I wanted to.
And I do think all moms and parents feel that responsibility for the kids, because you want the kids to have an awesome childhood.
But it's funny. We don't just go to Peacock Lane. We go to the Gladstone fireworks, and we have to go to the PIR, and we have to go to Silver Falls or whatever. I mean, there's like a million.
All the lights.
We have to go see every light in all of the vicinity.
Food, all this. Yeah, I get it.
So we've gotten a little extreme.
You want the kids to go back to school in January going like, guess what my family
suck
did?
It. Guess what we saw? Your family sucks. Totally. My family's awesome. No. Okay. There's also this time of year, loss. You know, my mom died several years ago, and when it comes to Christmas, it always is a little triggering for a lot of people that have lost, because the person that you love so much isn't here to be with you. And so that can definitely be a trigger time of loss. And also, our kids are all adults now. So it's almost like a loss of childhood fun and innocence, because it's like we would put out flour and put like Santa's boot in it because Santa came down the chimney and saw our kids. And then we had carrots for the reindeer, and we'd have cookies, and me and Gabe would like eat bites out of them before bed. So when the kids woke up, they'd be like, oh my gosh. honestly, we never really even promoted Santa, which it was just a tradition we did.
Yeah.
It was so funny. But it was a thing.
But there was so much specialness in the kids waking up in the morning.
Kids in Christmas it's magic.
Now we're just deserted. And
No, now I'm just like, get your butts out of bed. We want to open the presents.
Yeah.
They're not as excited anymore. And I only have one at home, and that's not going to be here next year because he's getting married. But anyways, loss during the holidays is hard. Comparison. A lot of times it's like, oh, there's so many gifts. Like you have to get so many things and you want to get everybody exactly what they want. And you want to like, even if it's an iPhone 15, you're out $1,000, $1,500. You just want to make sure everybody gets exactly what they want. And that's a lot of pressure too. And then you're comparing like, well, but that friend of theirs or that cousin gets this. And so, man, I don't know, I kind of feel bad. We should probably do more, there's that comparison thing. And there's always just more to do. There is so many extra things to do this time of year, so many things to juggle. It can get very overwhelming. And then the pressure can just make you crazy.
I'm depressed just thinking about all this.
Yeah, but the thing is I've already done most of my activities, my big events that I had to do. I did those at the beginning of the month.
Because as we record this, it's December 14th.
Yeah.
So we're really close to Christmas.
Yeah,
now.
so my stuff's been pretty done. I'm just chilling now. I got music to do this Sunday. I'm helping out Christmas Eve, but pretty much I'm feeling more relaxed. Yeah. So anyways, but yes. So yeah, expectations. Oh my goodness, right?
Yes, totally.
Tell us some stats.
Okay, so here's what we know about Christmas and how it affects people. I mean, we were talking the other day about the Holmes-Ray stress indicator, right?
Yeah.
And it's got all these points. It has these points that it tallies. And so you think about like you're carrying a backpack of stress and it weighs somewhere between 0 and 100 points. If it's 100, you're in trouble. And so like death of a spouse is 100 points. So it's all the way. It feels it all the way.
It's all the way full.
Yeah. So if anybody is listening and you've lost a spouse.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, honestly, if you've lost anybody, it's very, very heavy.
It is.
So you mentioned you lost your mom. It's still, I mean, that was how many years ago?
Almost 17.
Almost 17 years ago. It's still heavy.
Yeah, because I still miss her at Christmas time.
And so there's weight there. And I think we got to think about what does holiday stress do to you? Well, it depends on how much weight you're carrying in your backpack. Divorce, 73 points. So if you've had a divorce recently,
and we are trying to help with that. So stay tuned to Marriage Monthly.
Keep you from doing that. Marital separation, detention in jail, death of a close family member, major personal injury or illness is 53%, 53 points. So if you've got something going on health-wise, it's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to think about how Christmas and all what you just talked about just adds on to all of these other things.
And it's not just heavy for the person that's sick. It's heavy for the whole family.
Right. Yeah. Being fired at work, 47 points. Retirement, 45 points. Pregnancy, 40 points. Sexual difficulties, 39 points. Gaining a new family member, 39 points. I mean, maybe you're like, yay, we're celebrating a new baby. And it's 39 points in your backpack.
Because it's stressful.
On top of Christmas. Yeah. So this stuff really adds up. And one of the things that we know is that actually this lends itself to what tends to be a really heavy February. Did you know February is the high divorce month of the year?
Yeah.
Wow. Because why? Well, because we carry a lot of stress through Christmas. We add that to the stress we're already carrying. We add debt to that because often all that comparison makes us want to do better.
Well, then I was saying the credit card bill shows up.
And then January happens. We're like, oh my gosh, what did we do? And
by February, you're done.
February, you've got all the stress, you've got all the financial problems, and a lot of people file for divorce in February. So
brutal.
It's brutal for sure. And I think what it really comes down to is unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Looking at Christmas as though it's going to change your life every single year. Well, is it supposed to, or are we supposed to actually be doing something different with Christmas? I think that's what we want to kind of talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah, we want to talk about some crazy makers.
Yeah.
Because there's some Christmas crazy makers. And let me just say, I can be a little bit of a bah humbug around Christmas time when everybody wants to celebrate before Thanksgiving.
Right. That
kind of drives me crazy. Then the day after Thanksgiving, we usually go get our Christmas tree. And I do not enjoy picking out a Christmas tree. And I don't enjoy decorating. I know it's crazy, but I am not a creative person. So all the events that I run at the church, I always hire out somebody to make it pretty because I don't like to do that. It's not my thing. And, I mean, my son, our youngest, is very much into like decor and wants to like rearrange things all the time. And it would drive me crazy when he was growing up because he would want to like rearrange the front room. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's just leave it alone. Go rearrange your room. You know, it's like I don't like disruption. I like everything the same. And so getting a Christmas tree and decorating, I would always be like, oh. But to me, it was a crazy maker because I'm like, oh, we have to rearrange the front room. We have to put up a Christmas tree. I got to put all this Christmas stuff all over the house, outside the house. And then last year, when you were putting up Christmas lights, you fell off the ladder.
That was hard.
Which was brutal.
That was painful.
And still paying for it.
Yeah.
So decorating is a crazy maker for me.
It is. Yeah.
You know,
decorating is a problem.
Not my favorite.
Activities, events, you already mentioned. Gifts, already mentioned. Finances, already mentioned. Yeah, like there's a lot that becomes, I don't know. It's like we want to celebrate for Christmas, but we end up just under a lot of stress. Because I think because we're trying to go about it the same way that we see everybody else trying to do it, not necessarily going, well, what's this really about?
Or probably everybody doing it. Like we're looking at everybody's, oh, they saw this and this family saw this and this family saw this. Well, I want to see all of it. It's like, well, you know what? We can't do everything.
Yeah.
And we can't get everything for everybody. So we just have to be okay with that.
Tell them about how we started out with Christmas.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Our very first Christmas. Okay. We've been married 28 years. Yeah, that's right. I know you can hardly believe it. But yeah, seriously, our first Christmas, the morning we go to my parents' house. Then about 2:00, we went over to Gabe's dad's house, right?
Yeah.
Well, first we start out with our Christmas in the morning early.
Right.
So we do our own thing. We open our own presents, spend our own little time together. Then we went to my parents' house.
Yes.
Then we went to your dad's house.
Yes.
Then we ended the evening at your mom's house. 4 Christmases.
Just like the movie, 4 Christmases.
That's the best movie. It's hysterical. If you're not seeing it, you need to. It's so funny. But 4 Christmases. And I came home that night about, what was that, 10:30 or 11? I was like, oh, nope, never again. Never doing that. So I've talked to some people that have gotten married this year. And I'm like, how's your holidays going?
Yeah.
Because I know how it goes. Because you feel like you have to keep the same traditions with all your families. And then you have to add your own.
Right.
And it's all got to be on the same day. And it's, oh my goodness gracious, it's so much stressful. So that was not fun. And we fixed that. And that has never happened again.
That is right.
That's right.
I think so. One of the things we want to talk about today is how holiday stress leads to New Year regret. Mentioned the high divorce month being, February. But if you get it right, this is going to lead to peace. And so we've got a couple of scriptures we'd like to share with you today. One of them is in 2 Thessalonians 3:16. It says, "Now may the Lord of peace himself give you his peace at all times and in every situation. The Lord be with you all." I love that. Peace at all times, in every situation, it's his peace. I think it's good to embrace the reality that Jesus came to lighten our load, that God's peace is intended to make our lives better. He's not giving us another weight for our backpack. He's actually trying to lift the load out of that, and that's the peace of God. And that's really the reason for Christmas. So if you feel heavy about the holidays, the reality is that's not God. That is not God. That's culture. That's probably your own expectations. Yep. That's probably the enemy coming after you. Is not God. That's not what he wants. He wants to lighten your load this Christmas, this holiday season.
That's right.
Another one, Colossians 3:15, "And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you're called to live in peace and always be thankful." I mean, peace is what God's called us to. Peace, not just having great relationships with one another in marriage, which I think is so important. Kind of what comes before that, though, is peace in our own hearts, which has to come from us being okay with the way things are. And, that means, for me, that means not needing to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
And not needing to try to, match what other people are doing, not needing to compete with other people, but going back to the basics of Christmas is about Jesus, about honoring him, worshiping him as the King, as the Prince of Peace, and then just being okay with the way we can do it.
Well, and I think also it said live in peace, but also be thankful. Mm-hmm. And I think we forget about that piece of it, because when we have a thankful heart, we can handle things better. Mm-hmm. Like we are thankful for our health and our life and our home and the opportunity to even buy any presents this year or to go anywhere or to see any Christmas lights. Some people don't have gas to go anywhere. So, I mean, we have to think about all the blessings we have through the seasons too and be thankful. And I think being thankful brings peace a lot of times for me. But I love Matthew 5:9. God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. Did you hear the word in there?
Work.
I
didn't like that part.
No, you have to work for peace. It's not automatic to have peace. We live in a fallen world. We live in a culture that is chaotic. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it's something we have to be very intentional about, is finding the peace of God and peace in our family and peace, because everything in this world grates against that.
Yeah.
So to me, I shouldn't be surprised that it says work for peace, because, God's saying work for it. It's something that we need to work for in all of our lives, in all of our decisions, all of our relationships. That is something we need to work for, is to have peace all the way across the board. And I think that matters a lot. So how do you work for peace this Christmas? Well, I've told some people that got married this year to leave and cleave. Make Christmas your own. So of course, involve family, but not 4 in one day. Like this is your family unit. You are now a family unit. So make your own new traditions and be okay with that. And maybe see if a family member can do the Saturday after Christmas, or maybe Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. The thing that's fun about Christmas is we really have 2 days to celebrate. Yeah. So we can, break up families and be able, okay, we're going to do this on this day and we're going to do this on this day, and kind of do something like that. But otherwise, be okay starting your own new traditions as a family. And if you haven't done that and you've been racing around to your parents and grandparents and everybody in between, and it's been chaotic, step back from that and be like, you know what? We're going to do something a little bit different this year, just so we can have the peace of God and peace in our relationships. We're just going to do our own tradition and do some of your own stuff maybe, but make it yours. Streamline your schedule. Why don't you tell them the name of our thing that we decided to do this year for Streamline Our Schedule? Okay,
so we have like all of this family stuff happening, and we're trying to figure out how to make it work. And Melissa's brother, Tim, is like a 7+ on the
He's our activity coordinator a lot of times.
It's ridiculous how much stuff he wants to do all the time. We could be doing something every day if Tim had his way, right? As an entire extended family.
He's the best.
Because he loves all that stuff. And it's fun. I'm glad he's there.
He's a crazy memory maker,
too. For me, we probably wouldn't do anything. But so he said something the other day, and somebody responded back in the group text and mashed all our names together, like all of our last names. So it was like Wu Kol Shafars, because there's the Wootons, the Kolstads, the Shangs, and the Farrars.
Yes.
So I've got a new last name of Wu Kol Shafar.
Yeah.
Because that's like our family name now.
Because we got a big and a close family.
There's like, how many people is involved in
When we're all together, it's probably like 40
people.
Yeah. 35, 40 people when we're all together.
Yeah.
So needless to say, we can't just go do Christmas lights with these people and go see this with this person. So we decided we planned it where we'll have 2 big nights where we go see Christmas lights, and we're all going to do it together.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what we decided to do. You got to streamline your schedule sometimes and just be like, you know what? No, you know how many years I've wanted to go see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and I haven't yet? It's okay.
And we didn't do it this year.
No, we didn't do it again this year. I'm going to do it next year. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? We got to be okay with that, right? Yeah. Streamline your schedule. Don't make it so chaotic that it's not fun anymore and you lose the whole piece the whole time. Anyways, and then let some stuff go. Can't do everything, be everywhere, do everything, buy everything. We got to be okay with just letting some stuff go.
So besides the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, what did we let go this year?
Well, I did go sing the Singing Christmas Tree.
Yeah.
But I went without you.
You did. That's true.
I really want to go see the lights down at Silverton, the Oregon Gardens. And we didn't get to do that.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because we are going to go have some fun this next Sunday night with the group and go see a lot of lights and probably end up at Voodoo Donuts having some fun. So anyways, so it's okay to let some stuff go.
Maybe go, hey, maybe another time, maybe next year.
Actually didn't buy some gifts this year for certain people that I normally buy for, because I'm like, you know what?
Let's tell everybody who those people are.
No.
Oh.
They'll find out soon enough. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like our family's big and it's growing. Yeah. We have all these in-laws now, and then we have all these grandbabies now. And it's like, I just can't keep adding to our family and then keep the friend gifts going. So, it's okay. Totally. Gotta let some stuff go.
We were even talking about at some point, because I like the gift exchange idea.
Yeah. Which my family does on
your
Sunday,
family does,
Christmas
and
morning.
My family doesn't do it yet. And so if my family's listening, hey, let's consider that.
Yeah, because I'm broke from buying your family Christmas gifts.
Important. Okay, so make it yours. Streamline your schedule. Let some stuff go. Number 4 on this list of things you can do to decrease holiday stress is set a budget.
Yeah.
I think it's so important.
You have to.
I'm a big budgeting person. I love it. I run a family budget, but also I feel like we need budgets, not just for like month to month, but also for big days. So how much can you spend on Christmas? And is that a real limit? And is this cash we're talking about? Because if it's not cash, it's stress. If it's not cash, it's stress. If you don't save in advance, it's stress. If you charge it and pay it back in January, you're joining the ranks of everybody else who's allowing this to become something more than it should be.
And you pay way more.
You pay more.
If you throw it on a credit card and pay it off in 6 months.
Create conflict. And I'm not, so listen, if you had to charge Christmas this year, just try to get to the point where you don't have to do it next year, because it's really not intended to be something that creates that kind of stress and pressure for you. It's really not supposed to be about keeping up with everybody else.
You could put away a little bit every single month for Christmas.
Here's how we do it, okay? Is that we get paid every other week.
Yeah.
And yet we run our budget on a 4-week basic cycle. So in other words, we need 2 paychecks a month to make all of our bills. So when there happens to be, in our case, we get paid on Thursdays every other week. Well, there happens to be a couple of times a year when there's 3 of those paydays in a month, in a month cycle. Because of the way the calendar falls. And whenever a 3 Thursday, or I guess it's a 5 Thursday month, in other words, whenever we get 3 paychecks in a month,
away for Christmas.
One of those goes to Christmas.
That's right.
And it allows us to say, hey, this is what we have.
And this is our budget, and this is what we do.
And I mean, I'm a total nerd about this, so the spreadsheet tells me, but after our weekly expenses like groceries, gas, savings, whatever, giving is the first thing. After all that stuff, then whatever's left from that extra paycheck, that is a Christmas fund.
Yeah.
And so this year, we talked about it. We stuck it in a savings account. Melissa's using a certain card to pay for everything.
Just so I can keep track of it, but we pay it off at the end of the month.
We just pay it off. Yeah. So I just think setting a budget's really important because we agreed, well, for one thing, we agreed on it ahead of time. But this year it happened to be more than enough. So the other day we were...
really cut people out.
Yeah, we cut people out. We're like, you're not that important anymore. Anyways, the other day we were out and about and we were like, you know what? We have a little bit of extra money. Let's do something for ourselves. So we actually did a special thing together and it was like on the Christmas fund, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. And we had a blast and there was no guilt in it because we paid for it in advance. It was great.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what it was?
No, that's a secret. They can't know.
Why?
They can know. Okay, tell them.
We went to the top of the Space Needle.
Space Needle in Seattle. Yeah.
And we have not done that since our kids were little.
It's freaking expensive. How much?
$40 each.
$40 a person just to ride up the elevator.
Which some people might be thinking that's not that much, but seriously, they remodeled. It is gorgeous.
It's amazing.
We had so much fun up there. So worth it.
Yeah, totally. All right. The 5th thing is communicate your expectations. And I think this would be like, okay, you said make it yours, like make Christmas yours. Yeah, but what about the mother-in-law that's going to be like, hey, we have a thing.
Right.
I think it's important to kind of come in front of that. So don't surprise people in a negative way. Instead, communicate your expectations. Hey, here's what we're thinking and here's why, is that we don't want to go crazy, especially if you're a newlywed. It's so important that you don't, it's brutal. I mean, you got to figure out who you are. Leave and cleave, as Melissa said, but you got to communicate those expectations ahead of time. And I think if you come in front of that by saying, look, we're feeling a little stretched thin and we don't want to have a lot of pressure, tearing at our new marriage. So here's what we're thinking. I think most people would understand that, but you got to get that out there.
Yeah.
Communicate your expectations.
And if you have a reasonable family, everybody's like, oh, totally get it.
Yeah.
If they're unreasonable, then you can be like, sorry.
Yeah. And honestly, at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
It's you, not them. You're responsible for your marriage. They're not.
Yeah.
So you got to do the right thing. I'm not saying you should be a butthead and make everybody mad at you, but if they do get mad at you for doing the right thing, so be it, right?
Yeah. I mean, do family stuff. Yeah. Just make sure you're not squeezing out your family.
Yeah.
Your unit.
You got to have some time for yourselves.
Exactly.
You actually have to have the first time for yourselves. It's sort of like tithing. God says, bring me the first amount. And I think when it comes to marriage, you got to spend the first amount of time together.
That's right.
Then everything else can fit in. Yeah. The last one is make it spiritual. I mean, Christmas. That's the thing. We have just commercialized Christmas so bad that sometimes we forget, oh yeah, and then there's Jesus.
Yeah.
So how about thinking, well, how do we grow spiritually this Christmas? What do we do different, unique? What can we do to pull our spirits closer to God? You know, sometimes for us, it's about something financial that we can be a part of, where we, you know, for our church's Christmas offering or something like that, we do a little extra, we come a little closer. We're doing like a devotional for our church this Christmas.
Maybe adopt a family. And
adopt a family. Create a new tradition that's a spiritual tradition that pulls you together. What do you talk about around Christmas? You know, what scriptures are you going to read this Christmas? How are you going to pull Jesus into it? Because that is actually the whole point of it. And I think that's something that can build your marriage, because every time, we've always talked about this triangle, you know, where like, you know, if you've got a triangle and God is at the top of that triangle, and then for the spouses, each one is at one of the bottom corners, the closer that we move to God, that means the closer we're moving together. And we really do see that happening in our own marriage. And every time we watch somebody else, when we make an effort to pull ourselves closer to God, we are pulling together as well. And I think that's something that we can do for Christmas that's really important.
Well, and also most churches have Christmas like series going on in December. Go to that, show up.
Yeah.
The Bible app has so many Bible Christmas devotionals to take part in. Like, do something to make it, to kind of center yourself on Christ and not just get tied up with the decorations and the gifts and everything else.
Yeah.
It's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there you go. Less stress this holiday.
Yeah, we hope that you enjoyed this, and please subscribe and share, and we will see you next month.